Hi, this is Nightline and I'm Muhammed Hamdan. News making the headlines. PM urges civil servants to focus on leakages of subsidised goods. And IRB says it acts without fear nor favour in investigating taxpayers. Good morning. The Inland Revenue Board, IRB, has stressed that it carries out its responsibilities, including enforcement actions and investigations related to taxation cases, without fear or favour. It said any inspection of a taxpayer's residential premises was an enforcement activity carried out by the agency in the case of a tax investigation, rather than purportedly targeting a specific party. The statement was issued following media reports over the past week of a recent raid on Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia Secretary General Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin's residence regarding a tax investigation. In a statement, the IRB said inspections at premises, including residential premises, are part of enforcement activities to give justice to compliant taxpayers. The action is also a form of service to the people who fulfill their tax responsibilities consistently. The action, however, drew flack from several Bersatu leaders, including Bersatu President Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, who claimed that the raid was politically motivated. The government has dismissed the allegation, saying it was completely baseless. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ibrahim stressed that he has not issued instructions for action to be taken against any specific quarters since being appointed as Prime Minister. He said what he had done was to tell the authorities to act against anyone involved in wrongdoings.
Arahan saya kepada LHDN, SPRM, Polis Diraja, Bank Negara, semua yang bagian ada penguasaan siasatan itu, jalankan tanggungjawab dengan tegas dan berani, tak kira pangkat dan darjat kamu.
Datuk Seri Anwar said this when delivering his special mandate to Kelantan State civil servants at Dewan Besar Balai Islam Lundang, Kota Baru in Kelantan on Sunday. He also said he wants to put a stop to the attitude of greed exhibited by certain people when holding positions of authority, such as awarding contracts to family members and cronies without following regulations. The Prime Minister added that leaders in the federal government should have good practices, avoid wastage and never amass wealth for themselves. Now, speaking on another matter, Datuk Seri Anwar called on civil servants, especially those in enforcement agencies, including in Kelantan, to focus on addressing issues of leakages involving subsidised goods. The Prime Minister said subsidies should be enjoyed by the poor, but sadly most have been usurped.
Negara ini makmur, bocornya banyak, percayalah. Subsidi itu sendiri. Subsidi itu maknanya apa? Subsidi itu orang miskin. Tapi yang disakau ini banyak. Yang ditangkap tu baru mula-mula ditangkap. Tapi di minyak makan pun sakau. Diesel pun sakau. Jadi sampai bila nak cukup? Sebab itu badan penguasa termasuk di Kelantan kena perhati. Laksana dengan baik. Tak boleh lagi dah kita lakukan begitu.
In citing electricity subsidy as an example, Datuk Seri Anwar said the subsidy should be enjoyed by ordinary citizens, but currently the high-income earners were also getting the subsidy. He added that if left uncontrolled this year, it could reach 30 billion ringgit. Elaborating, he said he was against the decision to abolish part of the electricity subsidy and increase the electricity rate because the people are struggling and this would be a burden to them. As such, the Prime Minister called on civil servants to help explain to the people the policies that have been implemented by the government involving taxes and subsidies. In another development, Datuk Seri Anwar, who is also Finance Minister, is expected to announce several measures regarding the current state of the country's economy on Monday. Deputy Finance Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad said these include mitigating the depreciation of the ringgit. The Deputy Finance Minister said that Datuk Seri Anwar will be attending an event at the Securities Commission at noon on Monday, where he is slated to speak. He said the Prime Minister will be attending the program after the swearing-in of the new Dewan Negara President. Datuk Seri Ahmad was met by the media after a visit to Wisma Bank Simpanan Nasional Johor on Sunday. The Pontian MP was asked to comment on the decline of the ringgit against the US dollar and measures being considered by the government to address the situation. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister's announcement on Monday on several matters regarding the current affairs of the country's economy, including mitigating the depreciation of the ringgit, is timely, say analyst Nightline spoke with. According to the Centre for Market Education, the announcement should include the government's strategy, which could boost investor confidence.
The moment is absolutely right, and I think that these occasions offer the opportunity for the Prime Minister to address more generally what is at this point the strategy of the government with regard to the Malaysian economy. In fact, I do believe that the greatest difficulties for the national currency are coming from a lack of consistency in the signals that the government is sending out to domestic and foreign investors. And this is keeping investment decisions at bay precisely because it is not clear which is the more general strategy that the government intends to pursue for the future, for the present and for the future. So I do believe that the clear message that the Prime Minister needs to send out is if the government intends to pursue the way of liberalization and of a market-friendly regulation for the Malaysian economy, or if they intend to increase the level of regulations and controls over the economy.
Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad's Chief Economist and Social Finance Head, Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid, highlighted the needs to address food security as agriculture has a crucial role in the national economy since it greatly boosts national income, export revenues and employment creation.
If you look at the fundamental of our economy, the country has been relying so much from the external economy in terms of meeting the local demands. So perhaps there will be more measures to improve our food security by way of reducing our imports. That way, it will actually improve our trade deficits in the agriculture sector, which essentially would help stem the decline in our ringgit. So perhaps there will be more discussion on how to fix the ringgit via addressing the long-term sustainability of economy. And that way, I think if you can do that, perhaps there will be more inflows from abroad that could actually help strengthen our ringgit in the long term.
Moving on, the government will look into the matter of allowance payments for students in industrial training following a report on a public university student who had expressed concern on the issue. Human Resources Minister V. Sivakumar said the matter needs to be given serious attention by the government. The minister noted that the issue has also been raised in International Labour Organization conferences so that it is given due consideration around the world. As such, he said the ministry will be evaluating the issue more closely and will be giving its feedback soon, adding that the ministry is of the view that students undergoing industrial training cannot be considered as free labour. The issue had recently come to light following a viral photo of a university student who had gained attention as she voiced her frustration over underpaid and unpaid internships. The student had taken a stand against the exploitation of interns, vowing to parade around her campus sporting a bold placard that reads, "Interns are not free labour." The Health Ministry hopes that the issue of public hospital nurses' uniforms will not continue to be played up. Its Minister, Dr. Zaliha Mustafa, said the claims of nurses' uniforms being too tight were untrue. Rather, they complied with the dress code of civil servants.
kalau kita tengok sebenarnya pakaian nurses ni pun kita ada etika, ya. Dan etika tu jelas, pakaian bagaimana, dan saya rasa tak ada masalah. Yang paling penting sekarang ni ialah saya dah sebut juga, kita dah pun luluskan pematangan kertas putih kesihatan dan apa perkara-perkara yang kita perlu beri keutamaan.
Dr. Zaliha was speaking to the media after the handing over ceremony of 3 projects from the Public Works Department JKR to the Health Ministry at Hospital Sultanah Aminah HSA. Dr. Zaliha was responding to a remark by Kuantan MP Wan Razali Wan Noor during the Dewan Rakyat sitting on Thursday about the nurses' uniforms being too tight and not Sharia compliant. In response, several organizations and individuals slammed the PAS MP for his remarks, with the Malaysian Medical Association MMA President Dr. Murugan Rajaturai saying the uniforms are practical as they did not restrict the movement of nurses carrying out their duties. The Malayan Nurses Union said their uniforms are designed to be functional and to make it easier for them to carry out their duties. Dozens rescued as ferry catches fire. These and more from the foreign front. We'll be right back. With news from the foreign front, a fresh ceasefire took effect in Sudan on Sunday after intense fighting that saw deadly airstrikes in Khartoum and an exodus of wounded over the border into Chad. In a statement, the Saudi Foreign Ministry said the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and United States of America announced the agreement of representatives of the Sudanese Armed Forces SAF and the Rapid Support Forces RSF on a ceasefire throughout Sudan for a period of 72 hours. The mediators said the ceasefire was to take effect at 6 a.m. local time on Sunday, adding the two sides had agreed to refrain from attacks and allow freedom of movement and the delivery of humanitarian aid. And 1 hour into the truce, witnesses in Khartoum said the situation was calm. The army commanded by Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has since April 15th been battling the paramilitary RSF headed by his former deputy Muhammed Hamdan Daglo after the two fell out in a power struggle. Multiple truces have been agreed and broken during the conflict, including after the US slapped sanctions on both generals following the collapse of a previous ceasefire attempt at the end of May. A ferry carrying 120 passengers and crew members has caught fire at sea in the Philippines, but no casualties were reported. According to the Philippine Coast Guard, all people on board the MV Esperanza Star have been rescued on Sunday. The ferry, which was carrying 65 passengers and 55 officers and crew members, caught fire at dawn while sailing from Siquijor Island in the south to nearby Bohol Island. It was reported that 2 Coast Guard vessels involved in firefighting and rescue operations were still in waters in the vicinity of the fire. Authorities said the cause of the fire is still unknown, adding that investigation into the incident is underway. Sea accidents are common in the Philippine archipelago due to frequent storms, badly maintained vessels, overcrowding and spotty enforcement of safety regulations, especially in remote provinces. Yemen continue unbeaten run with victory over Laos. Sports after this breather.
Ayo semarakkan sokongan anda untuk Harimau Malaya. Siri Persahabatan Antarabangsa. Secara langsung hanya di TV9 dan Astro saluran 149.
We're back with sports. Football, the AFC Under-17 Asian Cup. Anwar Al-Turaiki scored the decider on a penalty in the 75th minute as Yemen edged Laos 2-1 in their Group A match on Sunday in Pathum Thani, Thailand. It was the second win as many Group A matches for Yemen and puts them on track for a spot in the knockout round. Laos will next face Malaysia in their final group match on Wednesday, while Yemen take on tournament hosts Thailand. And on to tennis, the 2023 Stuttgart Open. Jan-Lennart Struff is one win away from lifting his maiden ATP Tour title after defeating Hubert Hurkacz 3-6, 6-3, 6-3 to reach the final on Saturday. Competing on home soil, the world number 24 from Germany struggled against his fourth-seed opponent in the opening set. However, the 33-year-old brought his aggressive game in the second and third to overpower the Pole in 1 hour and 29 minutes. Struff struck 35 winners and won 17 out of 20 net points en route to setting up a meeting with third seed Frances Tiafoe, who earlier beat Martin Fucsovics in straight sets. The informed Struve came close to winning his first tour title during the clay court season, reaching the quarterfinals of the Monte Carlo Masters before finishing runner-up at the Madrid Masters. When we return, policewoman held over fight with subordinate. Don't go away. Eating disorders have emerged as a silent yet alarming problem in Malaysia, affecting individuals of all ages and genders. A recent study has shown that at least 57% of men and 60% of women in the country report signs of unhealthy eating behaviours, highlighting the gravity of the issue. Moreover, these problems often go unnoticed due to social stigma and lack of awareness. Hakim Azman reports.
Relate Malaysia founder Dr. Chua Sok Ning said eating disorders such as avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorder have been worrying in the country. According to their findings, approximately 50% of Malaysians showed symptoms of these conditions. Dr. Chua also said that these occurred due to various factors, including changing societal expectations, the influence of social media, and emphasis on being thin as the ideal body image.
Now, eating disorders has one of the highest mortality rates among all the mental illnesses because they lead to poor physical health, more physical illnesses, poor quality of life, and really makes it difficult for people to reach their fullest potential in the important domains of their lives.
Members of the public who shared the same perspective agreed that these factors were the main reason for the increase in cases in Malaysia.
Social pressure. They see people having a better body frame, and therefore they develop that eating disorder in order to get the same body frame without getting enough, food, without eating enough,
I think it's more of societal pressure, wanting to, fulfill what society thinks of being beautiful.
Whatever experience they must share. Okay, like they lost weight through this way, but what are the side effects that they face? They also must explore about it.
Apart from that, with the pervasive influence of digital platforms, many Malaysians, particularly youth, face intense pressure to conform to unrealistic beauty standards. Sadly, eating disorders are often met with silence and misunderstanding due to cultural norms and lack of knowledge. Hence, individuals with these problems may be subjected to victim blaming or shaming, hindering their ability to seek help. The stigma surrounding mental health further inflames the problem, preventing open discussions and support networks from forming.
Because this really is an issue that we see increasing, especially among young people. People start forming a body image very early, so we need really early preventive interventions, especially in schools, to teach children what healthy eating is, what a healthy lifestyle is, and also to help them develop a healthy body image.
Dr. Chua also stated that the government can play a role by allocating more resources to research in order to gain a better understanding of the contributing factors to the high prevalence of eating disorders in Malaysia. However, it is crucial for this allocation to be executed carefully, as any mistakes could lead to unintended consequences that may further exacerbate the issue. These growing pervasive problems cannot be kept under the radar, and efforts to break the silence are necessary to support those affected. By fostering a culture of empathy, understanding and inclusivity, individuals with eating disorders can feel safe to seek help and embark on a journey to recovery. Ahmad, TV3.
Police have detained a 35-year-old woman who gained viral attention in multiple videos, one of which showed her berating fellow police officers. Selangor Police Chief Dr. Hussein Omar Han said the arrest was carried out at about 1:20 a.m. by the Gombak District Police Headquarters. In a statement, he said the suspect will be granted bail after a thorough investigation is conducted, as more police reports have been filed involving the suspect. The case is currently under investigation under Section 506 of the Penal Code for criminal intimidation. Police have also confiscated a mobile phone to assist in the investigation. Another report has been filed against a woman by a policeman under Section 186 of the Penal Code and Section 14 of the Minor Offences Act 1955, accusing her of preventing a public servant from carrying out their duties and using rude, disgraceful or insulting words. Previously, a woman suspected to be a policewoman sparked outrage after a video of her hurling insulting remarks at other policemen went viral. The incident, believed to have occurred in Gombak, showed the woman raising her voice and asserting that the police officers were unworthy of reprimanding her due to their lower ranks. Another viral video captured the policewoman engaged in a heated argument at a temple. Meanwhile, another incident which occurred at a parking lot has prompted Brickfields Police to open their own investigation after the same policewoman was caught on camera in another quarrel. According to Brickfields District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Amihizam Abdul Shukur, the argument occurred as the suspect and a 27-year-old civilian were about to park their cars. As the argument got heated, the suspect had allegedly started honking her car while shouting at and scolding the complainant and her family. The suspect also reportedly criticized the complainant's clothing and recorded her with her handphone. Amihizam said disciplinary action and a mental health check on the suspect are now underway. And lastly, the Immigration Department has successfully busted a syndicate supplying foreign women for sex services and arrested 72 foreigners in special operations conducted around Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. Its Director General, Datuk Ruslin Juso, said the operations were conducted in Cheras and Kepong as a result of information and intelligence. The foreigners who were arrested comprised of 43 Vietnamese women, 15 Indonesian women, 6 Thai women, 4 Vietnamese men, 3 Bangladeshi men and an Indian man aged 25 to 42. Datuk Ruslin said 7 local men who acted as captains and caretakers of the premises were also detained during the operation. 20 local men who are customers at the premises have also been issued notices to appear to give statements to assist in the investigation. The syndicate was believed to have been operating for about 2 years and advertised sex services on social media groups. All foreigners arrested were taken to the Semenyih Immigration Depot, and the probe is being conducted under the Immigration Act 1959-63 and the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act 2007. And that concludes Nightline this time around. To all fathers out there, happy Father's Day. We thank you for your unconditional love, sacrifices, and the countless ways you make our lives better. I'm Muhammed. I'm Hamdan. Thank you for tuning in and have a great week ahead.